That reminds me of a funny story, because when I was looking for my wife, I really wasn't looking. And she just like rolled into the bookstore I was working at and started asking me about Islam. So I told her about it, and at the end of the conversation, she was like, well, if I die not believing in Allah and His Messenger, will I go to hell? And I said, yeah. Because, you know, I'm like, bam! You know, honest like that with her. So she comes back the next day, and she goes, well, how can I be a Muslim? So I started telling her about, you know, how to say the Shahada and stuff like that. So then she took the Shahada, and we were married 4 days later. So I kind of like was like, well, now that you're a Muslim, you need a husband? You know, I got this guy who can be your... Yeah, so that's the way, you know, since you just got married, that reminded me of that with my wife, the way I did that, man. So what was it like when you were looking for your wife, Abdullah?
Well, you know, it's an accidental thing. I wasn't planning getting married. It was sighted first, fall in love, then the marriage thing came on later on. You know,
the romantic way.
The romantic way.
Yeah. Now for me, it was like we've been friends like before we even like became like each other and stuff like that. We were just friends. And then, alhamdulillah, like we were like introduced to Islam in the beginning. So we used to go to lectures together, and I used to take her to the lecture with me, and we like things grew up. Like we went into
slowly
Islam.
went into Islam together, and you slowly grew Islam. And
exactly, which was very nice. And then we got married, and we're expecting a baby now. Inshallah.
That's,
so, yeah,
that's a good
that's
thing,
one thing. It's crazy because I know how to deal with I've never imagined that I could have a child.
Babies are hard, man. But they're never gonna love anything like you love your baby, like you love your kid.
Exactly. How can you like raise your child in an Islamic way in a world like this? Because
and that's why the sheikh's coming by to break that down for him.
Yeah.
Abdul has kids that are old.
I can tell you it's not an easy thing. And you have all right to be worried because raising kids is a difficult thing. And as much as you may have a plan and you want to raise them in a certain way, they might have a mind of their own.
How can that be? They can't have a mind of their own.
Yeah, you can coach them, but they will not always take the coaching.
Exactly. I think you need to be very friendly with your child, like for him to open up for you all the time. Like I was with my mom, she used to be very friendly with me because the difference of age between me and my mom is like 16 years.
So she's like a kid herself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So things between me and my mom, whenever I started smoking, when I before, now I don't smoke anymore.
Allahu Akbar.
Alhamdulillah. But like when I did that,
haram.
yeah, I know. So right now, alhamdulillah, I don't do it anymore. But the thing is that what helped me to quit is because I told my mom right away.
She bragged on you.
Yeah. She's like, she threw things at me.
Yeah, see, my mom and dad didn't even try to raise us, man. They just kind of like, and when we messed up, and then don't do it again. But there was never like, we shouldn't do this because, or anything like that. It was just, you messed up, you got disciplined. And
I think
work.
I should be a friend, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah, when I had my first kid, I was wicked nervous, man. Wicked nervous. I was like, oh man, I remember my wife's at the hospital, she's giving birth, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to be responsible for somebody's life, for somebody's making sure that they can speak, that they have food, that they have clothes. And I remember all this, it was like someone was standing on the back of my neck, now you're a dad. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? But I still have no idea what
the diapers, man. The diapers, they have...
That's why you have a wife. Oh, look, the baby needs to be changed. Yeah. You kind of go in the other room.
Yeah, and that's like a budget on its own. Diapers.
The kids got to be kept in a good environment, man.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, me living in the United States, I have left there a bad environment and coming out here, bringing my children in an Islamic environment, hopefully. The environment altogether is not totally Islamic,
of
but
course, yeah.
I bring them out here, their Islamic schools, their Quranic memorization, Arabic teaching, and so forth.
Helps them out.
Yeah, you got to get them.
There's somebody knocking at the door. Check the sheikh might be here. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, brother? Alhamdulillah. Good to see you, Ismail. How are you?
Nice to see you. Always a pleasure to see you.
Barakallahu feek.
Tafadal, have a seat.
Assalamu alaikum. You have a company here.
Assalamu alaikum. We do have company.
How are you?
You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves to the sheikh. And
Good to see you, brothers. How are you?
Abdullah from New York.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Hussam from Cairo.
Good to see you, Hussam. MashaAllah. Muhammad Salah. So how you been?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, you're having a
Everything is
good
fine.
company here, Ismail.
Yeah, I kidnapped him and forced him to come over.
Yeah, he's forcing us to.
MashaAllah. How was your day?
Well, he promised us good coffee, you know. And a good dinner, inshallah.
And we're waiting for it.
I'm sure he does fulfill his promise.
Yeah.
So what were you guys talking about?
We were actually trying to, the brother here, his wife's having a baby. Well, not right now, or he wouldn't be here.
Congratulations.
We
Good
were talking about
news.
how to raise children in Islam.
As a matter of fact, this is quite an important issue. In the past several days, I've been looking into a hadith which expresses about the most profitable investment in life. This is a sound hadith was collected by Imam Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ says that whenever the servant of Allah dies, all his good deeds will come to end, except for 3. The first is an ongoing charity. The second is a knowledge that's useful, which you will inherit. And the third is a righteous child. And this is actually the subject which we're going to be talking about.
We all wish for it, I hope.
I mean.
You know, even though there are 3 ways and 3 actions, when I studied the hadith and analyzed the hadith, I found out that you can get 3 of them in one. In the righteous child. How? By raising a righteous son or daughter, teaching them how to pray, how to fast, giving them good manners and so on. This is a useful knowledge which you have taught. So, if they are righteous, then once you die, they will pray for you, remember you in every prostration, in every sujood. The prayer that you have taught them, which they will teach their children and their grandchildren and so on, the Prophet ﷺ says that one who guides something which is good, he receives the reward of everyone who acts like it, similar to him, without affecting his reward. Accordingly, when you examine the hadith, you found that by raising a good son or a good daughter, you get 3 in 1. An ongoing charity, a useful knowledge, and a righteous child who will pray for you after you depart from this life.
I've read that hadith 1,000,000 times, probably, and I've never ever got that meaning out of it. I never ever saw that in there, that also.
Well, you know, sometimes you have to reflect and ponder. You do not just read. You know, even though the Prophet ﷺ delivered the good news and the glad tidings in this hadith, but there is an ayah which has a severe warning. The ayah is ayah number 6 of Surah Al-Tahrim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ عَلَيْهَا مَلَائِكَةٌ غِلَاظٌ شِدَادٌ لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. The ayah means, O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families against a fire of hell. The fuel of this fire will be men and stones. The guards of this fire will be angels, strong and stern, against the dwellers of fires. They do not disobey Allah in any command He commands them to do. So it's a responsibility, and it's a big task to do. The Prophet ﷺ says that everyone is a guardian in a way or another. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ. And everyone will be held accountable for those who are under his guardianship. Will be asked about his responsibilities. And the biggest responsibility in life is raising your children.
Exactly. Which makes me so nervous.
Toughest job you'll ever love to hate.
Well, this is not necessarily a matter to scare you. Rather, it's to encourage you and to learn more and more. Exactly. The beauty of our religion, that it did not leave anything without giving you a manual as how to take care of it. Yes. So the Prophet ﷺ actually instructed us as how to raise your children from the very beginning, even before marriage. Because Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, said that Allah, the Almighty, is going to ask the father about his son before asking the son whether he was youthful to his father or not. Why is that? Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim said because the son has rights upon the father as well as the father have rights upon the son. Yes. So it's mutual rights. And those rights go all the way, they begin even before marriage. Because the Prophet ﷺ indicated that among the rights of the children upon the parents, choosing a good mother for them, choosing good names for them. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ says,
Yeah.
a woman may be married for one of 4 reasons. For her beauty, for her wealth, for her family status, and or for her religion and religious commitment. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, so make the good choice by choosing the one who have the religious commitment. That, of course, doesn't mean that you should ignore the earlier 3 factors. No. If you can find the 4 good qualities, you're a lucky one. But if you have the choice...
I think you're a very lucky one, because most people can't find all 4.
If you know one sheikh, can you let me know?
You find one in each woman.
Well, I'm still looking.
That's why we have 4 wives, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. One
Religious
with each.
one and one with a good family.
One with each quality, yeah?
Yeah.
So the interesting thing in this hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says that if you have to make a choice, then choose the one who have the religious commitment. This is the one who would last. This is the one who would take care of your children, protect you in your absence, and protect her modesty and chastity. So this is an advice which is very, very valuable advice of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ says in another hadith, الدنيا متاع وخير متاعها الزوجة الصالحة. This worldly life is all about temporary pleasure. And the best of this pleasure is the righteous wife.
Righteous wife, yeah.
Hold that thought. Everyone else has coffee but you. You want some
Well,
coffee?
I don't mind. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me go and get some.
Please.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. The coffee is
Hey,
here.
what's up?
Thank you,
There you
brother.
go.
Jazakallah
Sorry
khair.
I
about
missed
that.
you, man.
Yeah, my manners are absolutely horrible. I'm living
Traffic.
all my life in the States. Yeah, traffic. Here now.
Thank you, Jazakallah khair.
Wayakum, wayakum.
Well, back to our subject. So that marriage has so many benefits, some of which not too many people know. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indicated في Surah Al-Rum, talking about marriage, saying, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Amongst the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has created for you from among yourselves spouses, so that you might find repose in them, rest and tranquility. And He has put between you, between the spouses, mercy and affection. Another benefit, another purpose of getting married is having children.
No.
That's why the Prophet ﷺ has said, when one was getting married, تزوجوا الودود الولود فإني مباهم بكم الأمم يوم القيامة. Well, if you're getting married, then you choose one who is loving, caring, and able to bear children. Yeah. One might say, and well, loving and caring, we can find out about that. But how about bearing children?
Don't have extra vision.
That's why I'm encouraging my wife. She's working as a teacher in the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy that she's doing this, because she's learning, she's teaching the youngsters.
Learning how to do it at home.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, keep practicing, because, that's a good thing,
Yes, it's all about practice, but unfortunately, in many cases, many people practice the wrong practices.
Of course.
And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us what we call the menu, as how to practice the right practices.
Yeah.
So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Brother Afdal, تزوجوا فإني مكاثر بكم الأمم يوم القيامة, indicating one of the purposes and the great meanings of marriage is to have children, to add another asset to the Muslim ummah. The Prophet ﷺ says, get married, since I will be delighted with your outnumbering other nations on the day of judgment. تزوجوا فإني مكاثر بكم الأمم يوم القيامة. And it's a very difficult task to find the right person.
Of course.
Yes.
This is where the initial planning starts and finding the proper wife.
Exactly.
Do you think people make it too hard on themselves? I mean, I know brothers who, like you say, well, I found you a wife, she's this and she's this and she's this and she's this. And the first question they ask you is, what does her father do? And do you think brothers sometimes make it too hard on themselves in finding
What
all
does
that?
the father has to do with...
Well, no,
the
really,
wife?
sometimes it is very important to understand about the family status and situation, you know. And not only that, the practices of the family members, whether they're praying or not, whether they're religiously committed or not. This is very, very important. Because I remember once when I was, before I made plans to get married, I contacted an older sheikh. And I was consulting him about a woman who was not from my background. So he advised me with a very important advice. He said, look who's going to be your children's uncle. This is very, very interesting. When you think about it deeply, you understand what the sheikh meant. Because you do not only marry the girl.
You marry the entire family.
The entire family, exactly.
Exactly.
That's why the process of ijab and qabul, acceptance and approval, it has to be from both families, not only the individuals. Or otherwise, down the road we will have so many negative consequences. God forbid.
It's important to look at the family